Thank you. Hey guys, first of all, I want to thank you for taking time. I know it's summer and it is so hard, isn't it, to stay like consistent with our business in the summer. I'm just like so thankful it's almost over. But I really appreciate you guys getting on. And, I always say every week it's so important as leaders to pour into yourself, get your week started off right. And, this is a great call to do it with every week. I know I personally get pumped up and take something away from this call. And I am super excited. As usual, we have another gracious 200K that has agreed to hop on. Isn't on our team, but that's what I love so much about Lavelle is people are so awesome. They don't care whether they make money off of you. And that's a really awesome, special company to be with and a special group of people. And today is no exception. I have Stephanie Cintron on. If you want to unmute yourself, Stephanie.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
I can. Did I say your last name right? I suck at last names.
Okay. I'm horrible with names in general. You did great.
I'm always botching up a name. I'm like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Yeah. I'm sorry. When I hit my maiden name was Millinger. And oh my God, people botch that up all the time. I was used to it. I was like, don't worry about it. Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day just to hop on with us and share your story and some tips with us. I know I appreciate it so, so much. I know that you're not even on my team at all. You don't make any money off of us. So I just really, really, really appreciate you taking the next, 45 minutes out of your day to share with us. And I would love, I don't know your story. These are my favorite calls because when I don't know somebody's story, I get excited because I'm like, yay, I've never heard it before. I would love to hear your story as far as, let's go back, girl. Like, what did you do? What did you do before network marketing? Were you in any other companies before Lavelle? If so, did anything happen? Were you successful at all? And then how did you find Lavelle? And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Okay, let's get real and raw. I had zero success anywhere before Lavelle. Before Lavelle, I was not a part of any other network marketing. I've never done anything like this before. Honestly, when it did appear on my Facebook, I thought it was ridiculous. When I did start taking it seriously, I didn't think I'd be any good at it. But before I even found it, I was a typical, tired, exhausted mom who was miserable times a million. And I struggled bad. Struggle was kind of a card I was dealt as a kid. I grew up with a mom who battled addiction. When things were the worst of the worst, we were literally homeless. And that kind of dark cloud just kind of carried me over into my adult life. I made really poor decisions as a teenager. I made really poor decisions as a young adult. And struggle was real. And for me, it was totally normal. That's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. And I kind of had this mentality of some people are just dealt crappy cards and it is what it is. Some people have an awesome life. Some people are successful. Some people are financially stable and some people just aren't. And I was one of those just aren't. At least that's what I thought then. And so it was totally normal for me to struggle to keep my lights on. It was totally normal for me to live paycheck to paycheck. It was totally normal for me to feel like the world's worst mom because I wanted to get off the couch. I wanted to do more. I wanted to feel better, but life was just so heavy and yucky before all of this that I didn't even really know how to function anymore. I got up every day and I did what I had to do because I was a grown-up. I did what I had to do because I was a mom. I did what I had to do because I had to go to work. And, people always ask me, like, what did you do before Thrive? And honestly, like, I did whatever I had to do to keep a roof over my head. I worked for a store. I worked for a construction company. I worked for, I don't know, like whoever would hire me realistically. And it was miserable. But right before Lavelle, I was an office manager for a general contractor. I was working 50 hours a week. I hated my job. It was 2 hours away from my home, but that's who would hire me. I was kind of in a position where I couldn't afford to work because daycare was expensive. I didn't have my own car. I was paying someone to borrow theirs. Gas for a 2-hour commute is crazy. Like I said, daycare was the worst one. And it was like this, okay, I can't afford not to work, obviously, because I have to support my life. but I can't afford to work either because it was killing me. There was way too much money going out and not enough money coming in. And so I just continued to struggle, and I always wanted more. And I didn't know how to make it happen. And I called myself like a Sunday night person. Like I was that person Sunday night with my giant bowl of ice cream or whatever I was eating to feel better, watching some inspiring show, probably like The Biggest Loser or some life-changing show, thinking, okay, tomorrow is Monday, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to look into going to school. I'm going to try and find a better career. I'm going to do something to make life better because there's got to be more than this. Like, I didn't want struggle anymore. But Monday would come and go, and I would never change a thing. Or if I did, it would last like 3 days or a week or half a month or whatever, and I would stop because if Lavelle's taught me anything, it's that there's a huge difference between being interested in something and being committed to it. When you're interested, you'll dabble in it for a little while and it might work for a little bit. But when you're committed, you're committed. You're all in. You're showing up. You're doing the dang thing. Like, you are dedicated and you're not going anywhere. And so I finally decided that I needed to be dedicated to something. And when Thrive started popping up on my Facebook,
Hey, Stephanie, can you hear me? Your connection is really bad right now. Everybody hang tight. Her connection.
Is it getting any better?
Yes, now it is. Maybe. No, not. It's not better. Is it just my end, guys, or is it everybody? Okay.
It's everybody.
Okay.
Oh no.
It's okay. This is a
okay now. I'm not quite sure what else to do.
Hold on, let me message Stephanie just to tell her. Okay, Stephanie, let's see if your connection's there. It's so bad. I just sent you a little message. Hey, don't worry about it. Oh my gosh, this is like live. We can't help it. It happens. We've dealt with this other weeks.
All right, let's see.
Oh, wait, you're back.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, let's pray and cross our fingers. Shoot, I'm sorry.
No, girl, it's live. We don't know what's gonna happen. Like this is a reoccurrence every week. We always have some kind of a glitch.
Oh no. Okay.
I think you're good though.
Should we roll with it and see what happens?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Should we roll with it and see what happens, or do you want me to dial in?
You seem to be okay right now. So
okay.
Let's roll with it.
Okay. So when I first started finding Thrive on my Facebook, I didn't want anything to do with it. I thought for sure that it was just that cool thing my friends were doing that summer and that it would disappear just as quickly as it popped up. So I kind of hated and waited for about 6 months before I finally decided, you know what? My friends are happier. My friends are healthier. My friends are traveling. My friends are driving a car. I don't even have one. Like they were doing the dang thing, and there were serious changes in their life that seemed real. Like you couldn't fake that kind of health and happiness, and I needed that. And so I finally just kind of had this talk in the mirror, like, you know what? You got to do something. Something's got to give. Something's got to change. You know, worst case scenario, this doesn't work, but it's worth a shot. And I finally got to a point where I was like, I'm going to invest in myself for once. Like I deserve this. My life my future, everything kind of depends on something finally working. Like I needed that breakthrough. Like I went to bed every single night praying for a solution. And there I had my friends telling me that they had this solution, but I was too busy ignoring them to really take full advantage of it. So I finally decided enough is enough. And that's when I started my experience. And first things first, I fell in love with the product. And then when I fell in love with the opportunity, the rest just kind of started to fall into place. But it wasn't easy. I mean, it was not easy at all, but it has been absolutely life-changing. But before this, I had no experience with anything like this. And I mean, I was just doing whatever I could to get by and rolling through the motions. And this has completely flipped my world right side up.
So take me like along the journey of you coming in. Did you grab your VIP bonuses? How long, like take me through the evolution of your entire business, like time frames.
Oh gosh, y'all know I am the queen of almost. I get super duper close to a goal and miss it every dang time. And, you know, I'm all about being totally honest. So if I'm brutal, I may never get invited to another one of your Zooms again, and I apologize. But like, this is real life, and this business is tough, and there is discouraging days, and there's days where you're looking at other people like, how the heck did you do that? And you know, something I preach to my team all the time is we need to be motivated and inspired by the success stories, not discouraged. So if you're getting discouraged by other people doing the dang thing, like, stop looking at it for a minute. Until you can clap for them and be happy for them, don't even look at it, because if it's putting you in a yucky mindset, that's just gonna make things worse. So celebrate your timing, celebrate your success, celebrate your small victories in between, because I think sometimes, if you're anything like me, we get so focused on that next rank or that next goal or the next trip or the next bonus, or these big milestones become so important to us that we kind of forget, you know what, I wake up every single day and feel better than I ever have. Or yesterday I changed my best friend's life because she's no longer clinging into the coffee pot or unable to sleep at night, or whatever the case. Like, we have to learn how to celebrate those small victories. It's going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you excited. It's going to keep you fired up. And it's going to remind you that you do this for those things, not just for the bubble on your profile picture or your rank badge or whatever the case. With that being said, no. When I first started, I did not hit VIP 800. I missed it probably by a promoter or something. I don't quite remember. But no, I remember it coming and going and thinking, well, there went that. And I remember having a talk with my friend who was like, listen, that doesn't make or break you. Like, just because you didn't hit VIP 800 doesn't mean you can't be 200K. Like, we have to go through all of the steps to get to that point anyways. And if it happens, great. If not, it wasn't meant to be. So I remember in the very beginning, it was just important for me to thrive for free. I knew that I couldn't afford this product where I was at that point, that I had to thrive for free. So I kind of just had a VIP mindset for a couple of months. Like, every 2 weeks, I just wanted 2 new customers and 2 new promoters. And if it happened, fantastic. If it didn't, I knew I needed to try a little harder or change my approach or do something differently, or just learn to be patient. Because we can do everything right. Like, we can do all the things that our uplines and our leaders and the company lays out for us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our network or our circle is ready. So we just have to keep staying consistent and stay plugged in and keep showing up for ourselves and our business, and eventually it'll fall into place. But it honestly, I did not hit VIP 800. I did not hit VIP 1600, obviously. I did not hit 4K in my first 30 days. It took me 4 full months to finally hit 4K. And I remember talking with my upline, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what, am I just not good at this? And it's a mindset thing. It's just, are you determined? Are you consistent? Are you going to stick with it no matter how long it takes? The time's going to pass anyhow. And I was so hungry for success in some way, shape, or form that there was no way I was going to quit. Like, I remember thinking, like, I'll ride this out forever if I have to. Like, I'm doing the dang thing one way or another. And it's just a matter of the more people we talk to, the more people we enroll, the more lives we change. Like, eventually we find those people who want to do this with us. So it took me 4 months to hit 4K. It took me, after that, another 4 months to hit 12K. And, you know, the month before I hit 12K was kind of like a make or break moment for me. The month before we finally hit 12K, it was the last day of the month. It was approaching midnight, and we were $40 away from that rank. And I remember thinking, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And I was reaching out to all the people, and I was rallying my team, and I was trying to make sure they were getting where they wanted to be. Like, did I have 4Ks so that I would be pushed to 12K kind of thing? Midnight rolled around and we missed it. I missed 12K by $40. And I remember it was 1 o'clock in the morning and I was still crying on my living room floor. Like, you have to be kidding me. And of course, you know, you have that moment like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is so hard. This is so frustrating. I just got so close. Like, I can't believe I missed that, you know, and everybody was like, well, why didn't you just place an order? Why didn't you just order some DFT? Why didn't you order some lifestyle mix? Like, why didn't you make it happen for yourself? Y'all, my account was negative. I couldn't have placed that order if my life depended on it. And in that moment, I felt like my life did depend on it. Like, I wanted that. I needed that. So that's when I had this aha moment of, you know what? I'm done. I'm done struggling. I'm done being in a position where I don't know if my lights are going to stay on. I'm done being in the position of there being more money going out than there is coming in. I'm done missing out on things because I can't make it happen for myself. So I had a talk in the mirror again. And I said, you know what? Tomorrow's a new month and we're going to start fresh. And I couldn't quit because at that point, I had people thriving with me and they were looking up to me and they were depending on me and they were hoping that I was going to set an example and pave the way and show them that this is possible for anyone, whether you hit your goals day one or it takes you 3 years. So we started over the next month because that's the beauty of Lavelle. We work in like 30-day increments. The next day is always a fresh start. The next month is always a new beginning. And it's up to us what we make of it. So the following month, we finally hit 12K. And I remember being so relieved because I was earning that auto bonus. And I was finally able to get a car of my own. I was almost 30 years old and I was finally getting a car of my own. And I was returning the car that I was borrowing. And I couldn't even believe it. And I felt like things were starting to fall into place. And that's when I really grasped, like when we start taking care of ourselves and we fall in love with this product and the way we're feeling and we start sleeping better and we have more energy and we're sharing passionately from our heart because we want to change other people's lives, everything starts falling into place. Like when you feel better, you start to live better and you become better and you crave better and you do better to make better happen to you and other people. So from there, we kind of, you know, at that point, my goal, I had kind of, I don't want to call it an unrealistic goal, but I had big goals. Like at that point, I was like, okay, I want our team to double in size every month. If it didn't happen, that was okay. Like I just wanted to have growth of some sort. But when we hit 12K, I was like, all right, I want to be between 20 and 24 next month. And then I want to be 40. And then did that happen? No, of course not. Those were big goals, but I had my eye on that and it kept me plugged in and it kept me powering through. But to be honest, going from 12K to 40K, that was a big jump for me, I felt like, and it took another 8 months. Like, I mean, we're a quickly growing team as far as numbers, but as far as those ranks for me personally, it took a little bit. So 4 months to hit 4, another 4 months to hit 12, another 8 months to hit 40. And then I found my runner. I found my friend Shireen, who came out the gates with a heart on fire, just like me. And we started building this business together. But I don't know if anyone can relate. I now had a strong leg. Of course, you can only have 60% of your volume come from your strongest leg. Some of us know what like being in the red feels like. That's where I was. I was a red leg leader. I had a strong leg. She was the majority of my volume, and it was hard for me to balance out. So between 40 and 80K, it took me another year, an entire year to rank up. The volume was always there because we had a massive team. However, I couldn't quite get things balanced. And from 80 to 200K, it was the same thing. It took an additional year. So I hit 80K. I don't know if any of you were around or remember, like the first time they did rank advancement bonuses, that's when I hit 80K. And then it took an additional year from there. So we just hit 200, not this past May, but the May prior. And it was just all about never giving up, finding my balance, and honestly just making sure that I was not only there for my team, but also working my personal business as well. Like I'm a 200K who has a 200K who has a 200K. We are all saturated with strong legs, but it's beautiful because our team is always growing. Like the month that I finally made my 200K rank official, we actually had $500,000 in sales that month. Like our volume was outrageous, but it took balancing and making sure that I was also growing other legs along with my strongest leg to finally balance out and make that rank happen. Was it frustrating? Of course it was, but you constantly just have to remind yourself of the good things that are happening and what's going to happen when you finally hit that goal. And for me, I finally got to a point where I was like, I'm so tired of this being about me. Like, I don't want to be pushing for 200K anymore. Like, I want to hit 200K so that I can turn around and bring everybody to 200K with me. And then I just kind of realized, well, I don't need that mindset now. Like, I can have that, or I don't need it later. I can have that now. Like, just because my rank's not there doesn't mean I can't help other people get there too. And the more people we build up, the faster we get to where we want to be. So I'm the queen of almost. I've struggled through this entire thing. I have messed up. I've changed my approach. What has worked for me last month won't work next month. And it's a learning curve. Like, you just have to keep going.
So am I adding this right? It took 4 years to go 200K or 3?
It was just under 3, or right at 3. Right at
3 years. I mean, what I love about your story is, I mean, I love that every story is different, but I think the stories that have those struggles, they're so much more motivating because it shows people that you can get there. You just have to stick with it. I mean, I've seen so many people in their first 3 months quit, and it took you 4 to hit 4K. Like, they just give up sometimes within their first month, and they would have never known that month 4 they could have hit 4K. They would have known that never, you know, if you would have quit at 4K because you just weren't moving right away, you would have never known 4 months later 12K. I mean, and then sitting at 12K to 8 months going to 40K. I mean, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. And, you know, I think also it has to do with, you know, you had never done anything like this before, and you didn't own a business or anything. So you were starting to build that network. What's the difference, like, when you look now, the way you build versus in the beginning, like stuff you've learned, obviously? What do you feel like you did wrong in the beginning?
Oh gosh. In the very beginning, it had to be my reaching out. It had to be. I look back now at some of the messages I sent in the very beginning and I cringe. And I've literally apologized to people like, hey, I realized I sent you a novel. I was excited. I was just getting started, but I probably came on way strong. You know, like we have to remember to stay us when we become promoters. And I know, like, I'm kind of like, you guys know that, but we have to remain human, and we can't just become salesmen or women. Like, we have to remain these people's friends or their coworkers or their sister or whoever we are to them. Like, when we become a thriver, we don't lose who we are. Like, we're still a human. Like, sure, we have the world at our fingertips and we feel better than ever and we're becoming our best selves, but our friends don't want to be sold something. They just want they want to feel better in some way, shape, or form. Like, they're just like us, praying for that solution before we found this product. Like, we got to stay human with them. So for me in the beginning, it was definitely my approach. Like, I came on strong. I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. And now I like that. I like to still not know what I'm talking about. People don't want the scientific breakdown of everything. They don't want to know the ins and outs of everything. They just want real life results. They want to know why we love this product. They don't want us, like, when they look at our Facebook, they don't want it to be a commercial. They want it to be highlights of what this is doing for us. Like, we're thrivers day in and day out. They want to know that we feel better. They want to see our energy. They want to see us living our best life. They don't want to see a post about, I don't know, today's deal, if that makes sense. So I think that it was my approach, and it was probably my lack of validation calls. And I still struggle with that. If I'm being completely honest, like, my almost 4 years into this industry, I still struggle with learning to utilize the people around me. Like, at this point, sometimes I get caught up in this, well, I don't need to connect my potential thriver on a validation call because I can answer all their questions. I've been doing this long enough. I know how to thrive. I know how to help them get started. I know how they can place their order. I have a story I can share with them. But honestly, that's hindering me, and it kind of shoots myself in the foot, because it's not necessarily about me knowing everything. It's about me connecting my potential to my upline or my other thriving friend for validation for them. Sure, I could answer the question, but it's going to mean so much more coming from a third party. It's going to be validation to them. Or what if they don't relate to me? They might relate to my friend. Plus, if we're putting this person onto our team, whether they're just a customer or a promoter, they need to be connected with other people. They need to know that it's not just me, that I have like a whole crew that is all hands on deck, ready to cheer them on, to support them, to help them. If they can't reach me, they can reach out to them. And it just kind of gives that Thrive family community vibe. So I think that my approach was a little strong in the beginning, and I think that I'm on like this roller coaster of remembering to utilize those around me for validation, because we're in business for ourselves, but we're not in business by ourselves. And if we can lock arms, it's just a little easier.
I love that. People forget how like strong third party validation is, and it really is. Like I will be talking to somebody that I'm talking to for a year that are asking questions, and finally I actually get smart enough. Oh yeah, I should probably hook them up with someone else. And it's so crazy how like just with one other person saying, wow, thrive is amazing too, you know, they're like, what? Okay, I got it, I'm ready. So it's so powerful. So you're runners. So I'm curious, because I think this is always interesting to hear. When you look at your personal runners that you've personally signed on your team, who were they and how did you find them? Like, were they friends? Were they people you just randomly found on the internet? Were they somebody you found out and about?
The majority of them were friends. They were people I knew. Shireen, for example, my personal 200K, her and we met when we were like 13 or 14 in school. And same with Kelly, another one of my personal runners. The majority of like my solid leaders, as far as like personal level goes, they were people that I've known and grown up with. We've done life together. We've become Facebook friends. You kind of lose touch because you rely on social media. This has brought us back together. And you know, these were people that I knew. When it gets a little deeper in my team, I do have a lot of solid leaders that I did not know before this. And sometimes the people in between us aren't even thriving anymore. Sometimes they just found them on social media. Like, our team is built from all walks of life, all different types of relationships, whether it was social media, found them on the internet, knew them before. But the majority of my personals came from people I knew. And a lot of them
so they had to watch you, right? Because they were like hanging out, watching. Did they say that? Like, I was just watching you, because obviously you didn't sign them all at once. And you didn't sign your 200K until you were, what, 8 months in?
Yeah.
Or no?
I was very far in. And another one, Kelly, she watched, and she was literally mean to me, like a bully. Like, we were friends in high school, but once I started this, she wanted nothing to do with me anymore. And she was like a typical like Thrive hater. And she used to tell me all the time, I will never do that. Like, you might as well stop even trying. And it kind of got to the point where I really just had to love her where she was, and I had to live by example. And we always say, like, make sure you're reaching out, make sure you're following up. My following up with her had to be very different, because the minute I said thrive, she wouldn't talk to me for a long time. And then finally, I was getting ready to go to Punta Cana the first time the company took us there a couple of years back. And it was in the middle of the night, and I got a Facebook message, and she said, I'm so angry at you for making me even want to experience this, but I need what you have. And I remember, like, I had goosebumps, I cried, the heavens opened, because I was like, hot dang, finally. But it's because I was consistently, nonchalantly putting it in her face. Like, I was just living my Thrive life and sprinkling it here and there. And when the time was right for her, she came around. But had I just stopped talking to her, or stopped communicating, or stopped building our relationship, it might not have ever happened. Like, she definitely needed time. But that's, most of my runners did. Like, they needed it to be the right time for them. But had I given up, I never would have, found them. And they might not be thriving, or they might be thriving with someone else. Like, you have to stay consistent. The time is going to pass anyways. So you might as well just continue to build. Eventually they're going to join you. And they'll come from everywhere. It'll be people you know, it'll be people that you used to work with, it'll be people that you meet in the grocery store. Just keep sharing.
So are you basically somebody that builds their business through social media?
I do build my business through social media. I feel like even when it comes to kind of building my network and making sure, because it gets really easy to start scrolling Facebook and you think, wow, the whole world is thriving, because we've become friends with so many thrivers. So I try and filter that. I try and, snooze thrivers for a little while to open up my algorithm so that I start seeing non-thrivers. I I try and go through my friends list quite often and like physically go to non-thrivers timeline so that I can interact with their stuff in case they're not popping up, because then they'll pop up and I'll pop up for them. But I feel like even when it comes to like building my network and thinking like, okay, I gotta find some more friends. I need some more people in my life who aren't thriving, because you know, the longer you do this, the harder it gets to add. There's always a trip you want to find thrivers for. There's always a new life to change, but where are you gonna find those people? So like my daughter's in swimming lessons, so we chit chat with people at the pool, and it always comes back to social media. I think social media is just such a big tool that even if you do meet someone at the ball field or your children's school or your workplace or at the grocery store, things like that, to connect on social media, because then I don't know, it adds them to your circle. They're going to see your stuff. It's another way for you to communicate with them and follow up, and it's just, you know, it just connects you a little more than that one place that you met them, if that makes sense. So a lot of times when we're out to eat, if our server asks like, what is your DFT? In the beginning, it was so easy to be like, oh my God, I don't know, it's my wearable nutrition, I love it. And then you're kind of like done talking. But if you can get comfortable having a conversation with them and then connecting on social media so that you can get them more information later, or you know, whatever the case is, like it all kind of hones back to social media. I really do build my business there, whether it's people I have on there from school or if I've added them along the way. But yeah, it is the majority social media, I would say.
I think it is for most people. I mean, no matter what, it always is going to end up social media. Like I know I mostly build as far as meeting people out and about, but the relationship is built online. You know, it's getting them added to Facebook, and then they're like, what is that? You know, eventually they'll ask that question. So when you look back, you know, over the last, how long have you been in now? 4 years?
August 3rd will be 4 years. Yes.
In that 4 year period, like what, like if you can think of a struggle or two, like a biggest struggle that you felt like, gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get over this, or something that hit you really hard. Is there anything that like sticks out?
I think just learning how to be and enjoying my journey and my timing, and know that it's okay that I didn't grow as fast as the person next to me. You know, we've had people join our team who hit their auto bonus in under 30 days. And I'm like, yo, it took me like 8 months to do that. You know, something I've had to remind myself as I look back at the job that I had before this, where I was an office manager, I was working 50 hours a week and I hated my job, but I was so okay with going every day. Like that was totally normal. Like I would work that job until I couldn't anymore. And I was totally patient, and just that check would roll in once a week, and I was never going to be a millionaire there. Like I'd be patient waiting 3 to 5 years for a raise and hope it would happen. And we have like this patience with that 9 to 5, whatever. And then we join a company like this and we lose all of our patience, and we want it now, and it has to be instant gratification. And I want to be 200K within a year. And I've been doing this for 4 years. Why am I not a Lavelle millionaire yet? Or why haven't I been in that magazine? Or why haven't I done that? And we start putting the pressure on us, and we lose sight of everything because we're so impatient. And it's like, why are we so okay? Like I was okay with struggle for almost 30 years, but now I've been doing this for 4 years and I'm going to lose patience with myself and give up. Like that's silly. So the last 4 years has really just been about learning that my timing's okay and my journey is special, and it doesn't have to look like the person next to me. And that's the beauty of this. Like we can grow fast, we can grow slow, we can make this what we want it. Like we do what we want with this. And I don't know, like we hear it all the time. Like if you treat this like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to pay you as a business. Or you can do this part-time or full-time, but you can't do this sometimes. And it's so true. Like you have to really find your why and find what you want out of this, and then put a plan into action and do the dang thing, because no one's going to do it for you. And like I said 100 times, probably the time's going to pass anyways. So you might as well be building for your future and getting yourself a little closer to your goal each and every month, even if it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to. So for me, it's just been about patience and learning how to love where I am right now and be excited for my future, and know that if I quit, like all that's going to go away. So I might as well just take it one day at a time and enjoy the journey and find the smaller victories in between, because those deserve celebrating just as much as the big ones do. So for me, it's just been about patience and learning to be okay with my timing, because my timing is special and my timing is mine.
My favorite line, you can do this sometimes or full time, or you can do this full time or part time, but you can't do this sometimes. That is so true. Like, you can't do this sometimes. You're going to be, think about a normal job. If you were part time doing, what's part time? 20 hours a week, 20, 25 hours a week, full time's 40. I mean, you can do this part time or full time, but you can't do this sometimes. And that's so huge. And you know what I love that you talked about it in the beginning? You talked about, if other people's success is making you feel bad, don't look at it. Because that's a human feeling, guys. Like, don't feel bad because you're not happy for someone else's success. That is a normal feeling, especially in the beginning of this, because I mean, I know comparison is the thief of joy. And if you have to not look at someone else, don't. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, guys. It just means that, I mean, you're human. And, once you get to that place where you can start being happy for people, then that's okay. But sometimes in the beginning, you can't. I mean, I know I've struggled with that before. And, you try to be like a good person and say the right thing, which is, oh, I'm so happy for you. When initially it's not that you're not happy for a person, it's that you have this jealous, like, why can't I be there? Why did they deserve it more than me? Why are they moving faster? Why did they run into the right person and I didn't? And, I always say this business, I always get shot for this, but this business is luck. I don't care what anyone on this earth says. Part of it is luck, but you cannot get lucky without working. You can't find the right people without putting your feelers out there. And yeah, sometimes are you going to see that person? I've been doing this 9 years, and one time in 9 years, I saw somebody sign up, make a post on Facebook, and they found 2 runners and went all the way to like a couple $1,000s a month. I've only seen it once, one time. So, it's like what people need to understand is you're not in the minority, you're in the majority. It's going to take a year to go 12K or 4K, maybe another year to go 12K, another year to go 40K. I always tell people, if it took a year to climb one rank a year, would it still be worth it? Like, I love how you broke that down with your job. You were patient for 30 years at a normal job, knowing, looking for little raises and showing up every day and getting paid once a week. You had patience then, but suddenly we get involved with something that could truly change our life forever. And that's where we start getting impatient. That's where we quit. That's where we give up. It's like, it's asinine. It's like, what is wrong with people? So I would love to know, like, obviously you have had a lot to stay motivated through. And I always say motivation is something internal. People are always looking around for somebody to motivate them. And, I am motivated by people, absolutely. But they don't push me to get up and work this business, if that makes sense. So what are some things that you feel like you've done that keep you motivated, that keep you growing, because I think personal development it's an income producing activity. Personal development is 50% of this business. Like, if you can get your mind right and get to that place where you're not going to give up, and you believe in your products, you believe in the business, the in network marketing, in the opportunity. Once you have that piece of the puzzle, then the rest is going to come. It's just a matter of time. And personal development is so huge. So what do you do as far as staying motivated and personal development and stuff like that?
I love this question because I think that's one of the main things I get asked all the time is, how do I keep my team motivated? And I always tell people, it's not your job. It's not your job to keep them motivated. If they're not motivated and inspired and encouraged by what Lavelle lays out for them, there's not a whole lot we can do to keep them motivated and encouraged. It really does come from within. Like, it is up to us to decide that we're going to wake up every single day and do the dang thing. And you have time blocking is really important. I'm sure we all know about that and know how to, like, we're all adults, like, we have to manage our time. But I know for me, when I look back in the times that were the hardest for me, I was the most discouraged, or I mean, I would never say that I considered necessarily quitting, but like when we kind of let off the gas a little bit and we think, ooh, this is tough, and our attitude goes away, I realized I wasn't managing my time very well, and I wasn't taking care of me. I don't know if any of my show of hands, if you can relate, but like, I got in this habit of waking up every morning, reaching over, taking my capsules, and grabbing my phone. And I was so in my phone, and I was fixing everyone's problems, and I had to be the one to answer all the questions, and I had to take care of everybody, and I had to make sure that everybody was happy, and I had to make sure that everybody's business was growing, and I had to make sure that people were motivated and encouraged. And then I would realize, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. I'm still in my bed. I haven't brushed my teeth. Did I even do my lifestyle mix? This is yesterday's DFT. Like, whoa. And I wasn't taking care of myself. Like, I started taking my Thrive experience for granted. I wasn't doing it correctly, so I wasn't feeling my best anymore. I was tired at the end of the day because I was going a million miles an hour and I was always in my phone. And I really had to learn that it's okay to put my phone down for a second. In my morning, I need to make sure that I'm thriving correctly, and I need to take care of myself, and I need to maybe read or listen to something positive and encouraging. And I need to schedule my time. Like, what time were the Zooms that I was going to get on? What time were the calls? What time was I going to sit down and intentionally work my business? Like, I had to take care of myself and my day. And then I knew where I could squeeze in some free time. Like, when could I get in the pool with my daughter? Or when could we go grab lunch together and see a movie? Or like, when could we have some family time? And it's true what they say, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's not just for your family, that's for your Thrive family as well, and your team. Like, you can't be constantly pouring into them if you're not pouring into yourself as well. So time management and really just making sure that I was taking care of myself makes all the difference. And it keeps my mindset right. And it just makes me a better mom, it makes me a better wife, it makes me a better leader. And I don't know, like, you have to manage your time, because we don't need 8 to 10 hours a day to build our business. We need 8 to 10 intentional minutes sprinkled here and there. Like, we need a few minutes in the morning that we can touch base with our leaders and be like, how can I help you today? What do you guys got going on? We need a few minutes here and there where we can send some messages to some people that we haven't spoke to in a while and develop some relationships to find some potential thrivers. We need 8 to 10 minutes to plan an event for this weekend. We need 8 to 10 minutes to check on our samplers. We need 8 to 10 minutes to plan our team call for this week. Like, we just need a few minutes here and there throughout our day to do the dang thing. Like, we don't have to be, I don't want to say you don't have to be all in all the time, because you do, but you know what I mean? Like, you just need to manage your time. And if you're managing your time, you're a little less stressed, and it becomes fun again, and you remember why you're doing this. And I don't know, like, you're just more productive, I feel like, when you have a plan. So organization, time management, and just remembering to take care of you. Take a few minutes in the evening to sit down and listen to something on YouTube, or read a book, or listen to a different team call and hear the stories. Like, fill your fire. Another thing I like to do is I start my morning with a story from the Thrive Experience page, and I end my night with one. I just read a story. I just read what this is doing for other people. Like, I get outside of my own bubble and realize, like, this is bigger than all of us. And this product, the business is fantastic, and it's fun, and the success is addicting, and we love it. But at the end of the day, these products are changing lives, and that part is really cool. So if you can remember that part, you just share a little bit more passionately. I think that goes a long way.
So have you ever lost a bonus or lost rank?
Oh, goodness gracious, yes. Yes, I have. We don't advertise that because it's not pretty, and it's not cool to admit. And obviously that's never the goal. We hear that all the time, especially at 12K. Like, okay, I hit 12K and you're encouraging me to go get that car, but like, what if I lose my rank? Obviously the goal is for that to never happen. And it does. And it could be because we get comfortable and we think, cool, I'm 4K. Now my 4K team is going to get me to 12K. And that doesn't happen. Like, we constantly have to be adding new. I feel like, I don't know if it's just my journey or my timing or my team or maybe the way I work or my red leg situation, but like, I feel like I'm in a constant state of rebuild all the time. But I'm okay with that, because that means I'm constantly doing the dang thing for my business or for my people or my thrivers or whatever it is. But yeah, when I first achieved 80K and hit that 80K repeat, those checks were coming in, and then there was a month where my red leg was so strong that I just couldn't bounce. Like, that month, my black legs just weren't quite there, no matter how much we added. I always joke that our team, we grow and shrink at the same time. Like, I can't keep up with it, and it's okay. But yeah, there were a few months where it slipped away, but you get it back. It happens. As long as you can lay your at night every night and think, I'm good with today. Like, I did what I needed to do today. I was helpful. I shared. I didn't let off the gas today. Then you're good. Just write it out. It'll come. There's good months. There's bad months. I read something the other day that it said that for sales companies, the months that start with J are typically a little tougher. And when I look back on that, I kind of agree. You think January is right after the holidays. People have all that Christmas debt. The summertime, people get a little bit more relaxed. They're on vacation. They're not as plugged in, June and July. Like, it kind of makes sense. But as long as we're remembering to show up for ourselves and our business every day, like, it'll come back.
That's interesting. The months that start with J. That's so true. My January.
Oh, we lost her. She muted herself.
That totally makes sense. So walk me through a little bit of, I always think this is cool to ask people, because you might be doing something different than I am, and I would love to hear it because maybe I'm missing something. But when you sign somebody new, walk me through what you do with them in those first 14 to 30 days. Like, what does it look like if you signed me today?
In the first 14 days, I'm a stage 5 clinger. I'm going to be your best friend. You're going to hear from me every day. We're going to chit chat on the phone. And I just want you to know that I'm available. Here are some other leaders I'm going to connect you with that are available. Here's a team chat, a 200K page. I really encourage people to obviously follow the Lavelle fan page, Paul and Jason. In the first 14 days, I feel like that's our opportunity as a leader to really plug our people in and lay out all the tools that they have. Like, here is everything that you can and should utilize. And then it's kind of up to them to pick and choose what they really are going to do. But for the first 14 days, I really like to be hands-on. I like to know exactly how they're feeling, what they're experiencing. And it might be that I just text them. It might be that I give them a quick phone call after lunch. Maybe I call them at the end of the day and ask how their day was. And then it's really about, who can you connect me with? Utilize me. Let me help you. Because I know when I first started, I was brand spanking new, and I was like, I don't know what the heck this is, but I love it. I'm sleeping better. I lost a couple pounds. I feel better than I ever did. But you should call my friend, kind of thing. And I just try and be that friend for those people. I try and help them know what their Thrive experience is and how to share it. So I ask them, well, what did you notice different today? How'd you sleep last night? Did you notice that you were a little more energetic? If I know that they have a backache or knee discomfort, I ask how they're feeling, how their body feels, how much they accomplished. Because a lot of times in the beginning, sometimes people don't even realize that they're thriving yet. They think, oh yeah, I kind of like it, but I don't really notice anything. So we have to communicate with them and help them kind of develop their story and know what it's doing for them, and then teach them kind of how to incorporate that into their everyday life when they're communicating with people. Well, who do you work with? I'm sure that there's some other girls in your office that could use the energy, or when that 2:00 wall hits at work and you're at the coffee pot, who's meeting you there? Let's talk to them. And just kind of encourage them to kind of make a list of maybe 50 people or 100 people that they know, or 20 people, because they only need to thrive for free. So if we can get that list going, they kind of have that list of people that they should think of, who in your life do you know that could use this for whatever reason? Who needs help sleeping, who just had a baby, who, I don't know, coaches soccer on the weekends, just different ways that they have people in their life that need this product. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs this in some way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of finding their why. And then how to share it with them, because you're not just you should thrive with me. You have a solution to offer them for something that they're going through. So the first 14 days, I just stay connected, and lots of 3-way calls, lots of 3-way chats, lots of following up, and just helping them share. And I don't know if you remember in the beginning, but it was kind of oh my gosh, someone just asked about my sticker. What do I say? Someone doesn't know what a DFT is. What do I tell them? Or someone asked me what Thrive is. How should I answer? There's no right or wrong answer. They just want to know what you're experiencing, what this new thing is you're doing. So, learning how to post about it to I don't know, draw attention and not necessarily look slimy or spammy or salesy. You want your friends and family to continue watching your journey. So I just try and stay connected and offer as much advice as I can. And then that continues through the rest of forever. But in the first 14 days, I'm very hands-on. I like to be connected and know that person, I have their back. I'm not just going to crock pot you. I'm not setting you up and then leaving you to figure it out on your own.
Right. And I think people think that maybe we're doing something different, but in all actuality, it's really up to the person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And making sure that their timing's right. Because I sign out people all the time that say, I want to do this. They purchase the kit and then I don't hear from them in a week. And I try to reach out and they're just not getting back with me. That happens to everybody. And I think that sometimes we blame it on ourselves, but I think what we could do is do a better job of interviewing the person before we start them, give them the raw and real. Because if you give somebody the worst case scenario and you like say, this is going to be work. And, I think sometimes that's where they go, okay, maybe I'm not ready for this. And I would rather not like sign somebody than sign somebody that's like just not, it's not their time. I believe everybody has a timing for this. And sometimes, it sounds good, but I really have to work to do this. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just going to come super easy and I'd start making money. But people don't realize like that struggle in the beginning that, 1 out of every 20 promoters you sign get the VIP bonuses. That's just like reality. So when you can make sure that they're in it, you know what I mean? Saying how dedicated are you? I kind of even like to prep mine before they sign. Like, let's make that list first and then let's see who you got and let's see if we can talk to a couple people before you actually like hit that upgrade button, or else maybe just stay a customer until you're ready to actually put the effort in. Because people say they want to do it, but then do they really want to do it? Which is crazy. I want that money, but I'm not really ready to put in the work to do it. So, I was just thinking how much your story, I mean, I love every aspect of your story. And we have very similar beginning stories as far as just like being at that place where I was at that same place. I thought I was going to be broke forever. I mean, I just kind of like, yep, this is life. Some people get lucky and I'm one of those unlucky people. And we realize like with this that we can actually change our own luck. And it's like a pretty cool thing that we get to do that. But when you are building on social media, because I think for me, I think when people can get the piece of the puzzle that the biggest part of this business is growing your network. You have to keep growing your network. You have to keep talking to new people, period, or your business isn't going to grow. You will stall out. So when you are building your network through social media, just give me a little bit of like maybe some tips on how are you getting new friends for Facebook if they're not out and about, like just through social media. How are you adding new people? Do you go through friends of friends? Are you in groups? Like what is your MO for that?
My MO for that has kind of changed over the years. When I first started, like I had this, I'm going to add everybody. And then I had like this mom guilt moment where I'm like, wait a minute, my daughter's on my social media. Maybe I don't want to add everyone. And then it was kind of like, well, I'll just adjust like what I do with my social media because I'm a promoter now. Like this is my business page. It is what it is. Like I need to add everybody. So I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. I do add, like if we have mutual friends or, I mean, honestly, like if you haven't yet, go to Facebook and like start searching if your high school class has a page, like class of 2003 or whatever the case, like, and go through like who's a member of that, like who have you forgotten about, who can you reconnect with? That's a great way to add new friends because chances are you know that person. You probably just don't know that person now, but you did back then. So just friends that you've gone through school with or old co-workers, or if your children are in sports, like get to know other parents. Like I think that it's 2019 and if it wasn't for Lavelle, obviously, like I would just be totally dependent on social media. Like we just get kind of lazy. Like we lose track of time with our friends because we see them on Facebook. You know, you haven't called your friend lately because you just liked their post the other day. Like social media is taking over. But we can still get to know people in real life too. Like if you travel, if you're in the airport, if you're sitting next to someone on the airplane, if your kids are in sport, other parents from your kids' school, the person who works at the restaurant that you and your spouse go to every single week. I've even started like encouraging people to like when you go grocery shopping every week, like go to the same person, like talk to them, develop a relationship with them. Like it's kind of funny because people are like, how do I make new friends? And I'm like, shoot, I don't know. You just talk to people. And then it kind of goes back to like what we said earlier. Then you add them on social media and then you're kind of in your comfort zone. Now you can like have that social media crutch, but I don't know, you just join a gym. You can join a gym, do some of the classes, go to those like bring your own wine, paint a picture kind of thing. Like that sounds like a party to me. Sign me up for that and just get to know other people, other places. And I mean, sometimes you're going to have people who right off rip want to know what Thrive is. Other people are maybe involved in another company, you know, so the timing's not right. Like, I don't know, it's just a matter of growing your network any way you can. I actually stumbled upon some dumb luck the other day. We're Disney annual pass holders, and somehow I got added to a pass holder group that was like a, hey, let's follow everyone on social media. So everyone friended everyone. And I was like, well, that works for me. Come on. So it's just, I don't know, plug into different areas and find different ways to make new friends and meet new people. And, you know, you might get a couple new friends today. Maybe you'll get 5 more tomorrow. Maybe you won't get any next week. But I don't know, that people you may know section is really good. Well, mine is pretty saturated with thrivers. But, you know, if you have a common friend them. They might keep you, they might accept you, they might delete you, but it's just a way to kind of add, just keeps fresh eyes on your stuff, basically.
Right. Yeah, I think that people really, do you use Instagram at all? I'm just curious.
I do. I'm not very good at it. That's kind of actually something that I'm learning to play with now. I don't know, like I can post until the cows come home, but I don't, like I'm just now learning for it to be like intentional and beneficial. And like there's a lot like algorithms and hashtags. Like, do you remember when social media was just about like making a post and everybody saw it? That's not the case anymore. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm learning. That's a new adventure for me right now.
I would say like I've interviewed a 200K on here since the beginning of January, and I would say 95% of them aren't really using social media or aren't using Instagram. And to me, that's like exciting because we haven't even really gone that avenue yet. Instagram, you know what I mean? Like, which is really cool. I'm like, oh, I need to learn it. I know I'm the same way. I'm like, I have an account, but I haven't been on it in like 4 months. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we haven't, when people say saturated, I love when you brought up, you know, it looks saturated to us because we have all these friends in Lavelle. You know, once you join Lavelle, everybody starts friend requesting you. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, look at my timeline. I have all these Lavelle people. But what you don't understand is kind of like, you know, if you go buy a red Honda, now everybody has the red Honda. Like you see it everywhere. Or you get pregnant. Now everywhere you look, you see a pregnant lady. It's the same thing. Everybody's not pregnant. Everybody doesn't own a red Honda. And everybody's not in Lavelle. We just think that because, you know, we think that word's saturated. But you look at companies like, I mean, Mary Kay, Avon. These are companies that have been around 50, 80 years. People are still signing up in them. I lost a girl to Avon like 5 or 6 months ago. So they're still signing. But, you know, there's no such thing as really saturation. Would anybody say Nike saturated? Would anybody say, you know, Apple saturated? No, these things aren't saturated. Lavelle isn't saturated by any means. And it's so crazy because when I'm out and about, like most people that say, what is that sticker on your arm? They have no idea. None. No clue. Like it's very rare that I find someone that does know what it is. So if anybody has that saturation in the back of their mind, get it out of your head. It's not there. Okay. Do you have anything you want to leave us with? Any last like words of wisdom or just anything that's on your heart that you want to just end it with?
My advice that I've been giving my team a lot lately right now has kind of been weighing on my heart, and I'll share with you as well, is when it comes to being a leader, really get to know your team. Touch base with everyone, like have a list and talk to a few people every single day and really find out their why. Like know why they're doing this so that when they're having a bad day, you know how to encourage them because you know what they're wanting out of this. It's also going to teach you what kind of business they want, what kind of leader they want to be. And it's going to teach you how to be a leader for them. Like, because if I'm motivating my people or trying to encourage my people or talk to my people and I'm just thinking about my mindset and what kind of leader I want to be and what my goals are, like my goals might not be their goals. So me trying to encourage them a specific way might not work. You know, like I might have someone who is totally satisfied with being at 12K, but if I'm on their heels motivating them to do more than that and they're not ready to, it's kind of a waste of time. So you really need to know what these people's goals are. Like maybe they just want to thrive for free. Maybe they want to be at 200K. Maybe they just want their auto bonus. Maybe they want that next getaway. Maybe they just want a couple extra bucks a week to put groceries on the table. Like find out what they want, and it's going to help you help them so much more. And then at the same time, be that person for your leader. Like, be a squeaky wheel. Reach up and out and let them know, like, hey, listen, this is what I want this month. If your leaders are anything like me, like, they want to hear from you. They don't want to feel like they always have to go to you. So reach up and out and be like, listen, these are my goals. This is what I'm doing. Let me pick your brain. Like, do you have any advice? Like, stay in touch with them. One of the very first calls I ever got on when I first started was Jason Camper, and he said, you have to give your time to the people who deserve it, not demand it. And that has stuck in my brain for 4 years. So I always make sure that, you know, I'm focused on my runners, and I know what my team wants, and I know how to help them. And then I make sure that my people above me know who I am, where I am, what I want, and what I'm doing as well. And just lock arms. Like, no one's gonna do this for us. We have to do it ourselves. And just, I don't know, find your why, figure out what you want, and make it happen. If it doesn't happen this month, that's okay. You have another month coming. Just don't give up.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I mean, when we can help other people achieve what they want to achieve, that's where we get to that next level. It's when we start like assuming every single person wants to be a 200K, and we're like breathing down their necks, and it's pushing people away. It can really push people away. I love that advice. Well, I want to first of all point out that we all just got paid. You know, I have, I was looking at my numbers and I'm like, this payday is not going to be that great. But you know what? Every payday is great. Like, y'all, I mean, we have to think about that. Like, I think about before I started in this business, my weekly pay was, you know, ridiculous. And, you know, I'm like, how could I ever complain? And I know we all get there. And I already am expecting people to message me today complaining. I'm just being real. This is a real call. I'm already expecting people to message me today complaining about their paycheck. But guess what? Nobody's working. Where are you people? Like, I'm just being real, guys. The amount of signing has gone down hugely. People are on vacations. They're paying attention to their kids. When you get that paycheck today, you guys, I want you guys to look at it and be so grateful. And I want you to also think about the effort you put in to get that paycheck today. And you know what? Sometimes we can't just look at our own effort, but we have to look at the effort of our team and go, you know what? That's what it is. Better next week. And that's what I love about getting paid weekly is we get another try next week. We're here, we're setting it up for next week, and next week paycheck can be like the best paycheck we've ever had. So Stephanie, I just want to thank you so much for hopping on with us today and sharing your heart with us and your tips and your story. I know that you have no idea. I promise you, this has helped so many people. People have to, I think some people just think people got to 200K in 5 seconds. No, there's struggle. They wanted to give up. It took a long time sometimes. It doesn't happen overnight. And what I love about your story is that you just kept going. You know, that light bulb went off and you said, I'm just going to keep doing this until I get there. And that's the golden ticket, is to have that mentality. So I want to thank you so much for hopping on. And I also want to thank everybody that took the time out of their crazy busy summer to hop on this today and feed their souls and feed their mind and get motivated. And I hope you guys are as motivated by Stephanie's story as I was today. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a great day. Don't be strangers. Reach out.
Thanks, Stephanie. Happy payday, guys.